She captioned it in short and part. I had hoped to share a better update, but I will not be returning to play this season. Caitlin Clark announced on her social media that she will miss the rest of the season. But, some devastating news, I would say, but I don't think it was unexpected given the time period of the season. I spent hours in the gym every day with a singular goal of getting back out there. Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I am feeling.
The WNBA is reeling. Two of its brightest stars, Candace Parker and Caitlin Clark, have dropped hints that their futures may not be as secure as fans once believed. It's the kind of news that shakes an entire league, because when legends and rising icons both whisper about stepping away, the ripple effects go far beyond the court. The WNBA has always balanced between fighting for recognition and holding on to its pillars, and now the stakes couldn't be higher. Candace Parker is the definition of a legend, a two-time MVP, a Finals MVP, and one of the most recognizable faces women's basketball has ever had. Her career has been a blueprint for dominance, resilience, and trailblazing.
I played pickup at DePaul University in the summer. Dunked at Dundee Crown. I measured my game against Cappy Pondexter at UIC Classic in 8th grade. Let me tell you what home is, okay? I made my first basket at Springfield Park. I dunked for the first time at Edward Health and Fitness Center. Made Chicago Sun-Times All-State with a sharpshooter that's up there, right there, named Allie Quigley.
From her college days at Tennessee under Pat Summitt to her championship runs with the Los Angeles Sparks and Chicago Sky, she's represented excellence on every stage.
Candace Parker is a part of two of the most legendary seasons in Chicago Sky history.
Man, that's dope that she got her jersey retired, man. That's well-deserved. She brought a championship there, man. Candace Parker's a freaking living legend, bro.
And to complete her career, it wasn't going to be complete until she came back home to help Chicago win a championship. That is part of her legacy.
But for Parker, retirement has loomed for a while. Injuries have taken their toll, and even though she's proven she can still be effective, she's also been candid about wanting to prioritize family, health, and life beyond basketball. Each interview she gives seems to lean more toward the idea that she may not return for another season.
I mean, that's our girl. That's our girl. And I feel like no matter what happened, you have to protect you and you have to protect your career. There's no reason to force.
When Parker hints at quitting, it's not just a star leaving, it's a cornerstone of the league bowing out, taking with her a chapter of history. On the other end of the spectrum is Caitlin Clark. Unlike Parker, Clark is at the beginning of her WNBA journey, yet her name already carries a weight few rookies ever achieve. Coming out of Iowa, she was the most hyped college player in years, shattering records, drawing millions of viewers, and dragging women's basketball into mainstream conversations that hadn't happened before. Her WNBA debut season was one of the most scrutinized and celebrated in league history. She's not just a player, she's a cultural phenomenon. Clark has been branded as the future, the star who could bring new eyes and revenue to the league. So when Clark even hints at stepping away, the shock is seismic. For fans, it feels unthinkable. How could someone with the potential to define the next decade of the sport even consider walking away? The reasons, however, aren't mysterious. Clark has spoken openly about the grind of the schedule, the mental pressure, and the constant media spotlight. Unlike Parker, who has spent nearly 2 decades navigating the demands of professional basketball, Clark is only now learning the toll that fame at this level can take.
She was limited to 13 games this season, and she hasn't played since July 15th when she suffered a right groin injury.
She's in demand for interviews, endorsements, commercials, and appearances. The expectations are relentless. The WNBA season may be shorter than the NBA's, but the overlap with international play and the lack of true off-seasons can make it even more grueling. Add in the constant physicality she's faced as a rookie, where every veteran seems determined to test her toughness, and suddenly, the idea of stepping away doesn't seem so outlandish. Clark's comments don't necessarily mean she's ready to quit, but the fact that she's voiced those thoughts so early in her career shows how real the pressure is. For the league, the timing couldn't be worse. The WNBA has been in the midst of its biggest growth spurt ever. Viewership records have been broken, arenas are filling up, and merchandise sales have soared. Much of this momentum is directly tied to Caitlin Clark's arrival. Networks that once hesitated to broadcast games are now fighting for rights packages. Sponsors are lining up. And yet, if Clark were to step away, even temporarily, it would puncture that momentum in ways hard to recover from. For Parker, her potential retirement is more expected, but still symbolic. She represents the bridge from the Lisa Leslie era to the Breanna Stewart and Aya Wilson era.
The summers were filled with three-peats, 72-10 seasons, GOAT no more in 04 with the Cubs. Chicago sports is a way of life, and it's a generational thing. It's about winning. I'm a Kingsley Knight. I'm a Lincoln Lancer. I'm a Naperville Central Red Hawk. Until I sat in tears in 2016 and watched the Cubs bring it home.
Losing her at the same time Clark's future feels uncertain creates an unsettling picture for the league. The reactions inside the WNBA community have been telling. Teammates, coaches, and analysts all acknowledge Parker has nothing left to prove. If she retires, it would be celebrated as a farewell to greatness. But Clark's situation is different. Some veterans have been critical, suggesting that her fame and the fanfare surrounding her debut may have set unfair expectations. Others argue that her honesty about the strain of professional sports is refreshing, and that the league needs to take those comments seriously if it wants to keep its stars. After all, this isn't just about one player, it's about creating a sustainable environment where the brightest young talents don't burn out before they can reach their peak.
Because we've been missing her for so long, is just to come in and compete, and we have a good rhythm, I think, with everyone that's came in, and so just keeping that as our main focus. We've just been supporting her, and she's been supporting us. She's always there. We're getting to watch film, and she's in there walking through saying, "Hey," and we're like, "Get out."
Well, Coach Steph White had said that they were hopeful that Clark would return by the end of the regular season, but Caitlin was unable to fully reincorporate back into practice.
Fans, meanwhile, are caught between disbelief and anxiety. Social media has exploded with debates. Some accuse the league of not protecting Clark enough from physical targeting. Others argue that the media circus around her has been both her blessing and her curse, magnifying every shot, every turnover, every win, and every loss. When Parker's name comes up, the conversation shifts to nostalgia, how she's already given so much and deserves to step away on her own terms. But when Clark's name comes up, the tone is urgency. How can the WNBA ensure she doesn't actually follow through on thoughts of quitting? Behind the scenes, there's no doubt the WNBA leadership is paying attention. Expansion is on the horizon, TV deals are being renegotiated, and Clark is central to those negotiations. She's already proven she can draw an audience.
The WNBA star teamed up with Nike for a player edition of the Kobe 5 Pro Tro, decked out in Indiana Fever colors. You see them on your screen. If you are hoping to get your hands on the Caitlin Clark version of Nike's Kobe Bryant sneaker, you're out of luck. They are out of stock. The $190 kicks are already showing up on the secondary market at close to double the retail price. They dropped at 10 a.m. Monday, and they sold out before 11 a.m. In fact, in just minutes.
The WNBA cannot afford to lose her, not now. For Parker, her transition could be smoothed with more media and broadcasting roles, something she's already excelled at. But Clark's situation requires a different solution, one that balances her development as a player with the avalanche of attention she's receiving. The impact extends beyond basketball, too. Women's sports in general are in a moment of acceleration, from record-breaking soccer crowds to tennis players commanding huge sponsorships. Clark has become a face of that broader movement, and her potential departure would be seen as a warning sign. If someone like her can't handle the structure, what does that say about how women's leagues treat their stars? What does it say about the long-term sustainability of the growth curve?
Her just kind of having that approach of doing what's best for her is all we can ask for, because we'd rather Caitlin sit out and then come back next season and we're ready to roll.
In the final minute of the Fever's win versus the Sun right before the All-Star game.
On the flip side, Parker's retirement would underscore the legacy of athletes who built the foundation that Clark now stands on, reminding everyone that no single player can, or should, carry the entire burden. Speculation will run wild. Some believe Parker has already made her decision but is waiting for the right moment to announce it. Clark's hints, on the other hand, may be more about voicing frustration than revealing an actual plan to quit. But perception matters. Even whispers of both players leaving creates a storm that shapes how fans, media, and even future draft prospects view the WNBA. The league thrives not just on the games themselves, but on narratives: who's rising, who's retiring, who's carrying the torch. Right now, that narrative is balanced on shaky ground. What makes this moment so massive is the collision of eras. Parker represents the past and present, Clark represents the future. One bowing out and the other questioning whether she'll even stay creates a vacuum of certainty.
Would have been less or preventable had I listened to my body earlier. This is definitely a blow, I'm sure, for the organization, but also for her. I have been a player that has had a number of injuries, and I think later in my career especially, some of those injuries.
A league that has always battled for legitimacy now faces the possibility of losing the figure who built it and the one who was supposed to take it to the next level, at the same time. But there's also another angle. Perhaps these moments of uncertainty are exactly what the WNBA needs to confront. The conversation forces everyone, league officials, sponsors, coaches, and fans, to reckon with how much weight they place on individual players. It shines a light on systemic issues like travel conditions, scheduling, and player wellness. If Clark's honesty sparks change that benefits all players, then her words will have an impact far greater than any three-pointer she's ever hit. If Parker's retirement leads to more investment in honoring and utilizing retired stars as ambassadors, the league will grow stronger for it. At the end of the day, the WNBA has always been a league built on resilience. From its founding in 1997 to its struggles with visibility in the 2000s to its current rise, it has weathered storms before. Losing Parker would hurt. Losing Clark, even briefly, would hurt more. But women's basketball has always found a way to push forward, carried by the passion of its athletes and fans. Still, the shockwaves from these hints cannot be denied. They serve as both a warning and a rallying cry. For now, all eyes remain on Parker and Clark. Will Parker officially hang it up, closing out one of the most decorated careers in basketball history? Will Clark silence the rumors and commit to pushing through the pressures? Or will the unthinkable happen, with both stepping away and leaving the league scrambling for answers? The truth may not come immediately, but the questions alone have already reshaped the conversation. The WNBA has entered a pivotal chapter. Legends don't last forever, and icons in the making can wobble under pressure. The shock isn't just about Parker and Clark, it's about what their choices reveal about the state of the league. Their words have forced a reckoning, one that could either push women's basketball into a new era of support and sustainability or risk setting it back just as it was gaining momentum. Whatever happens, this moment will be remembered as a turning point, one where the future of the WNBA felt both incredibly bright and frighteningly fragile.